Now on 76ers Insider, the 1993 draft. In this half hour, we'll take you behind the scenes at last month's lottery and give you an inside look at a day critically important to the rebuilding of the 76ers.
And who's on second? That's what people want to know now that the Sixers have secured the #2 pick in this month's draft. I'm John Slovatkin, and we'll explore the two options most likely to go #2.
And as a bonus, we'll turn our attention away from the draft and towards one of the greatest players ever. I'm Tony Erving, and we'll have a special look at Julius Erving's induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I'm your host for 76ers Insider, John Gurevich. Our final show for 92-93. Stay tuned. How would you like to become a part of the 76ers 1993-94 upcoming season? On Monday, June 14th at 6 p.m., the Sixers will be holding tryouts for the Dream Team. All girls 18 and older, come out to the Spectrum. You may become a part of the Sixers live action. For more information, call 339-7600. That's 339-7600.
Fair or foul, it is a fair ball, a grand slam home run, Heated Camellia. Long drive, deep right field, home run, Darren Dalton. Deep center field, back goes Grissom, still going back at the wall. It's gone, a home run, Dave Hollis. Duncan, a long drive, deep left field.
Welcome to the June edition of 76ers Insider. Our theme this month is the draft. Lots of excitement around the 76ers, particularly since the lottery last month. Well, let's get things rolling now with the Comcast Metrophone Insider Quiz. Now, besides the big first-round draft choice the Sixers have, their second-round pick this year is number 32 overall. Should be a good prospect at that spot. Turns out that 6 of the players on the roster the Sixers finished up this past season with were originally drafted in the second round. The most notable of the current Sixers who originally were second-round picks is Jeff Hornacek, who was taken 46th overall by Phoenix in 1986. That leaves 5 other players on the roster as this past season ended who came into the NBA as second-round selections. This month's quiz, who are those 5? The answers to the Comcast Metrophone Insider Quiz coming up later in this half hour. Comcast Metrophone is the market leader in cellular technology. Well, this year's draft still is a few weeks away, June 30th. But it was on May 23rd that the Sixers went up to the draft lottery in New York City and came away with the second pick overall. Have an inside look now at a huge day for the 76ers.
When Irish eyes are smiling,
the key elements, it turns out, were a ping pong ball and an Irish good luck charm. For the Sixers, general manager Jim Lynam and personnel director Gene Shue led the delegation to the Midtown Manhattan hotel where the lottery was being staged. And as the time ticked away leading up to the selections, Jim Lynam found himself feeling kind of nervous.
Somewhat apprehensive, worse than games.
Optimistic?
Yeah, I do. I feel a little bit, I guess lucky is the word, but you know deep down it's a shot.
Precisely what the NBA had in mind when it created the lottery in 1985.
It's somehow caught a little bit of a wave and focuses on the fact that in all of these lottery cities, everybody's waiting poised to see whether they're going to get the player that's going to turn their team around, and that excites a lot of cities in this league.
The NBA has parlayed that excitement into a made-for-TV event presented on national television at halftime of a playoff game. But even as the preparations for the public presentation were being made in a ground-floor ballroom, the real lottery, where the ping-pong balls are actually plucked, was going on one flight up in a meeting room watched over by security guards. That's where Gene Shue was. Sometime around 3:30 that afternoon, Gene watched as one of the Sixers' blue ping-pong balls was drawn to the top of the cylinder, right after a blue Orlando ball popped out for the number 1 pick. It was more than an hour later that the commissioner went in front of the cameras to present the results.
So let's get started and see who picks where in the 1993 NBA draft.
Now, with the 5th worst record in the league this past season, the Sixers began the session crossing their fingers about envelope number 5. But when Orlando did not pop up at number 11, where it was supposed to, and then Golden State did not appear at number 8, it meant the number 7 envelope became the critical one. That would either have the Sixers logo in it, or if not, it meant the Sixers had one of the top 3 selections.
The 7th pick goes to the Sacramento Kings.
Disappointment fell over the face of one team representative after another, until in the end it came down to Jim Lynam or the Magic's general manager, Pat Williams.
Philly or Orlando? Philly or Orlando?
Second pick in the 1993 NBA draft goes to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Unbelievable.
And believe it or not, the first pick in the 1993 NBA draft goes to the Orlando Magic. Come on up.
For the Magic, it was, of course, lightning striking twice after finishing on top in last year's lottery. But for the Sixers, it was almost a moot point. Getting the number 2 pick was obviously a very clear cause for celebration.
You know, they have the balls there in the cylinder, and, you know, there's a signal, and then all of a sudden the ball pops up. I think there were 3 teams with blue balls, so the first ball up is a blue ball. And so I'm saying, oh, you know, we have a terrific shot here. Then they called out Orlando, and so you're up here, now you're down. I said, oh, no, because then you could be 6th. So then the second ball came up 15 seconds later, and it's also a blue ball, and so we finished second. I'm telling you, it was so exciting just being there, knowing that you have the second pick.
You literally could hear a sigh when you didn't see Orlando in number 11, and I was like disbelief. And then when Golden State was out of turn, I knew that we were going to be number 7, meaning drop 2 spots, unless we got the good fortune of moving into the top 3. So I was most apprehensive when he was opening envelope 7, and thank goodness I see Sacramento Kings. So.
And what was your immediate thought?
Well, right then, that we have the good fortune, you know, luck, regardless of whether we get number 1 or not. You know, we came here and good fortune smiled upon us. And I think to be number 2, you know, we'll take that.
So how did you do it? What was your secret?
Gene Shue was in the room. The pressure was on Gene.
Didn't you want to run out and tell the world?
Yeah, but I couldn't get out of the handcuffs. So is that what they mean by sequestered? Or detained? What is it? Detained, right. Well, it was one of those. You know, they make sure you stay in the room. They don't want anyone. Yes, I would have loved to jump out of there and said, we won, we won.
Someone had given Harold Katz this a few years back.
Is this the shillelagh?
Oh, a shillelagh, yes.
Now, did you even know what a shillelagh was?
But I did a little research. A shillelagh apparently was an Irish walking stick. And as it evolved over the years, I think in like American contemporary society, it's more of like a club. But today it was a very good luck charm for the 76ers.
That and a good luck chain letter may or may not have been what pushed the Sixers over the top in their quest for good fortune. Whatever it was, it worked.
When Irish eyes are smiling.
Coming up next on 76ers Insider, Julius Erving makes his final house call, induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
And I feel happy, and I don't look back and have any regrets. I look forward and have expectation.
This month's program is sponsored by Travel One, the official travel agency of the 76ers, with offices throughout the Delaware Valley for all your business and vacation travel needs. Travel One guarantees you the lowest fares, the highest level of service, and no surprises.
I took diet pills. I lost 34 pounds.
6 months later, the weight came back.
That's when I decided to get off the diet roller coaster and get on a Nordic Track.
In fact, Nordic Track is so easy to stick with that after 5 years, 7 out of 10 Nordic Track owners still use their Nordic Track skiers an average of 3 times a week.
It's been more than 2 years. The weight's still off, and I'm still on my Nordic Track. You should give Nordic Track a try.
Call now for a free video and brochure. Take weight off and keep it off. Nordic Track introduces the Weight Loss Satisfaction Guarantee. Research shows that Nordic Track's total body workout burns more calories than exercisers that only work your legs. Discover what numerous customers have found. With regular exercise on Nordic Track, you can take weight off and keep it off. And we're so confident you'll lose weight too, we guarantee it. We'll guarantee that you'll lose at least 10 pounds in 60 days or your money back. Call now for a free video and brochure. Ask about our 60-day weight loss satisfaction guarantee.
We're going to change gears here a little bit. Besides the draft, the Sixers have been making news on a couple of other fronts recently. Julius Erving's induction into the Hall of Fame last month, and the announcement several days ago that Fred Carter is coming back as head coach of the 76ers. We had a chance to talk to Fred Carter after that announcement, and as you'll see here, Fred is clearly excited about this opportunity.
I guess after having been for so long in the wings, waiting sometimes patiently and sometimes impatiently, and feeling that somewhere along the line I could do the job, I wanted to do the job, that I could be successful doing the job. And when it happened, there was so much that I wanted us to be able to do. I may have been guilty of giving us too much. And now I get an opportunity to sit back patiently and do it throughout the whole training camp period. So it gives me a chance now to sculpture and to build.
You've talked about putting the Fred Carter stamp on this team. What is the Fred Carter stamp?
Well, it's that same guy out of Mount St. Mary's who went into the Bullets camp, a third-round draft choice, non-guaranteed contract, just a hard-working blue-collar guy out of Philadelphia that had to get a job. And I went down and defensively I got a job. So I'm not going to turn around and try to be a finesse guy here. We're going to play defense.
Okay, well, Fred Carter's style may not have been based on finesse, but if you looked up the word finesse in a basketball glossary, you ought to see a picture of Julius Erving right there. The doctor was officially inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame last month, and Tony Erving was up in Springfield, Massachusetts for the ceremony.
His place in basketball history was already assured. One of the game's truly magnificent players, Julius Winfield Erving II, waited for his introduction to the crowd assembled for the Hall of Fame ceremonies. This would make it official. But really, didn't our hearts know better? Who else could bring us out of our seats before the embarrassing slam dunk over one, and sometimes two, who would dare to challenge? Who else came closest to treating victory and defeat as one and the same? Who else could have displayed such class, grace, and dignity and still be admired by the common man? In the audience, a proud mother, reflecting the glow of her son's accomplishments.
Because I'm so glad that everybody has seen him to be the man that he is. I really have never had any complaints. Everybody comes to me with the same thing, so I can help but be proud, regardless of where he goes.
The day had started under brilliant sunshine as Julius Erving arrived at the Basketball Hall of Fame for a press conference with the rest of the inductees. Bill Walton, Calvin Murphy, and Walt Bellamy were among the others being honored. But it was clear that the day belonged to the doctor. His star shined the brightest, but the glare of celebrity never blinded Julius Erving. As I've seen and heard him do in the past, Erving presented an enlightened perspective, deeper than the moment at hand.
I'm not going to say that it's the ultimate, because at this stage in my life, I'm not ready to concede that the ultimate has happened. At 43, I feel good. I don't know how long I'm going to be around, but hopefully there will be some more mountains to climb. And regarding my basketball career, maybe there'll be some more things that I'll do in basketball that might be worthy of recognition or celebration, although that won't be the reason for doing them. The reason for doing them will be because they make good sense, they make logical sense, and it's something that I want to do. So I'm not going to rule those possibilities out by saying, you know, this is it, packing up my bags, okay, you know, the pressure's off. I'm a done deal. I'm not willing to make that concession.
But along the way, concessions were made out of necessity. The concession of time away from his family as he practiced his profession. One of his young sons concedes that he'll never carry his father's weight.
No matter what, he'll always be my dad, so I always have to live under what he did. And he did a lot. He did a lot. I don't think I'll be able to match it, but as long as I can do something for myself, I'll be happy.
Today's generation of young basketball fans probably believes that Michael Jordan invented skywalking. But the force was with Julius Erving more than 20 years ago as he soared in the American Basketball Association. The ABA came into focus in 1971 when he joined the league with the red, white, and blue ball. This was Julius Erving free to roam and explore all the possibilities of his imagination. Initially, the purists thought this high-wire act was not suited for the game. Eventually, they would see the light of the doctor's prescription. His style and his creativity would be often imitated, but never duplicated.
I think I probably paved the way for the acceptance of the high-wire act, being able to do things in transition with the ball, as well as after becoming airborne with the ball, changing hands, maneuvering your body, using body English, body control, and, taking the game from a standard forwards position with my physique at 6'6", 210, and being able to do a lot of what the little guys do, as well as, most of what the big guys can do, and just kind of opening the door for the multiple talents to be a key factor, and for it necessary to have a multi-talented player on your team, so that when all the fundamental stuff breaks down, you have the X factor there that can get the job done.
As a player and as a man, Julius always got the job done. An evaluation of him doesn't begin with the number of points he scored or his 1980 MVP trophy. It begins with the moments he gave us, the memories of him slamming in Michael Cooper's face, dribbling through the entire Portland team and landing on Bill Walton. When he was out of uniform, his deportment was exemplary. He could meet a stranger and make them feel like a lifelong friend. He was regal without being above the masses. Truly a man for all seasons. A legend not absorbed by his own press clippings. And finally, a Hall of Famer.
I'll accept the responsibilities that go along with that. And, I think that's part of what this whole thing is about. And it is an issue because when you become a part of this fraternity, you're becoming a part of a very special family of athletes and contributors to the game of basketball who now have to become responsible to that end. They've shown the capacity and the potential and the talent and the ability to belong. And once you get in, it doesn't mean that your work is done. To a degree, your work is just beginning. You have to continue to prove yourself worthy, and you have to be a representative of what the enshrinement is all about, and the oath of the enshrinement is all about. And I'm ready to undertake that challenge.
Coming up next on 76ers Insider, back to the draft for a big choice.
If you've built up your frequent flyer miles, let Travel One help you plan the land arrangements. Enjoy the best values and upgraded accommodations to exciting destinations like Hawaii or wherever. Just call 800-722-5450. How would you like to become a part of the 76ers 1993-94 upcoming season? On Monday, June 14th at 6 p.m., the Sixers will be holding tryouts for the Dream Team. All girls 18 and older, come out to the Spectrum. You may become a part of the Sixers live action. For more information, call 339-7600. That's 339-7600.
Welcome back to the June edition of 76ers Insider. Earlier in the show, we gave you a look at how the Sixers came to have the number 2 pick in this year's draft. Now the question is, what do they do with it? Well, there still could be some wheeling and dealing, and a lot depends on what Orlando does with the number 1 pick. But as John Slobodkin reports now, it seems that any way you slice it, the first 2 picks will be Chris Webber and Sean Bradley.
He has been the nation's most chronicled college player the past 2 seasons.
while he's become the game's greatest mystery. His stage was the NCAA tournament, a focal point in consecutive title games. His platform was religion, carrying the word of the Latter-day Saints through the back roads of Sydney, Australia. His body exudes showtime. His frame is more suited for sideshow. Chris Webber and Sean Bradley, the NBA draft's odd couple, uniquely talented athletes who've become realistic objects of the 76ers' desire.
Philly or Orlando?
Second pick in the 1993 NBA draft goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. Unbelievable. And believe it or not, the first pick in the 1993 NBA draft goes to the Orlando Magic.
The Orlando Magic, the longest of long shots, walked away with #1 for the second straight year. The franchise, Shaquille O'Neal, was last year's #1 pick, and they're suddenly salivating over this year's possibilities.
We just have to go through the process here and figure out what we want to do. Obviously, Webber's a very good power forward. Bradley is a kid that doesn't come along very often. You're talking, what, a 7'6" kid? Nobody's seen him. There's a certain mystery to him. We've got to really do our homework on him and be comfortable that we know him. And could he and Shaq play together? Is he athletic enough? You know, we've really got to do our homework.
Webber, a classic power forward, appears to be Orlando's perfect fit.
When you look at drafting that high, where he should go 1, 2, 3, you would want that player to be an all-star player, and that's why you draft him. And I think that if you look down the road, that he'll be there, and he'll be there for a long time.
Maloney watched Webber terrorize the paint, powering Michigan past the Owls and into this year's Final Four. At 6'9", 245, there's not much the wondrous Webber can't do.
I think right now his strengths are his size. He runs up and down the floor. He's got great hands. His defensive presence inside, and his offensive area around 12 feet and in. Now, certainly when he goes to the NBA, he's going to have to get stronger, but he has the body to get stronger, and you know he's going to play against men in the NBA. When you come to the NBA from college, you're playing against players that are experienced, have some knowledge, and 5 or 6 years older than you. And I think he'll grow into that. But he certainly has the tools and the potential to be a great player.
Maloney says the All-American is a workhorse who will develop the offensive repertoire and defensive concept needed to be a true star. He points out, though, that the NBA lifestyle will be a greater adjustment for the 20-year-old Webber. Clarence Weatherspoon was last year's lottery find. Drafted 9th, he clearly is a part of the 76ers' future. But with next year's first-rounder already traded, they cannot afford to make a mistake with this year's prime pick.
I think they're being two great players. Clearly, they're two different players. One is a power forward whose game is power. The other is a 7'6" center whose game is more finesse, blocking shots, hook shots, and so on. Clearly, we would be happy to have either one.
But remember, there are no guarantees with the #2 pick. In fact, in recent years, such unfulfilled promises as Danny Ferry, Rick Smits, and Len Bias have been drafted with the #2 pick. So if the Magic were to take Webber at #1, that would leave Bradley for the 76ers, and he is clearly this year's most intriguing draft question mark. Since he was 7'2" as a high school sophomore, scouts everywhere have been in love with Sean Bradley. Now at age 21, he stands 7'6", and is thought to be the most talented athlete at his height ever. His basketball skill level is remarkably high. He has a soft touch and surprising range on his jump shot, and can fluidly pass and run the floor. Bradley made a rare trip east in his only season at BYU. December 1990, the Cougars met LaSalle at the Civic Center.
You don't see many 7'6" that can run a floor the way you can, catch the ball, have a terrific touch, and be as agile as he is. I think that was very impressive.
But that was 2.5 years ago. Now Bradley becomes the ultimate projection. Will his slight stature carry more than the rumored 235 pounds? Can he handle the rigors of the NBA after not playing college ball for 2 seasons? Will he develop and revolutionize the game, or become the tallest draft mistake of all time?
If you're drafting for potential, I think you have to take him, because there's just not 7-6 people out there that can do what he can do, and he could be a dominating player in 3 years. He will not, however, be a dominating player his first year, and he's not a quick fix. So if you're asking me if someone should take him this year to lead them to the playoffs even, he's not the guy. But in a couple years, he could be the guy lead them to the championship. The dilemma is you have to draft the potential. Would I do it? Yes.
Weber or Bradley? Both names spark debates, and both will alter the franchise's fortunes. Either way, though, the interest is back. The excitement is building, all because of a number 2 pick, resting securely in the 76ers' hip pocket.
Okay, up next, the answers to the Comcast Metrophone Insider Quiz.
Yes, the season is over, but that does not mean Travel One is letting up. The Sixers have all sorts of scouting trips and meetings and tryout schedules, and Travel One, of course, is handling all of the arrangements, even some of our vacations. Put Travel One to work for you this summer.
Spears dropped the ball, and Incaviglia dropped him. This ball is off the wall and in play. Incaviglia steaming around second. He's on his way to third. He's got a triple. Incaviglia back, and he makes a great tumbling catch. Deep to left field. Fair or foul, it is a fair ball, a grand slam home run.
Time now for the answers to the Comcast Metrophone Insider Quiz. Well, we've talked about the lottery and the possibilities for the Sixers with their first-round draft choice. They also have an opportunity this year in the second round with the number 32 selection overall. Turns out that 6 of the players who finished up this past season with the 76ers were originally drafted in the second round. One of those players is Jeff Hornacek, selected in the second round by Phoenix in 1986 with the number 46 pick in the draft that year. The other 5, Ron Anderson, selected in the second round by Cleveland in 1984. Manute Bol, a second-round selection by Washington in 1985. Greg Grant was taken in round 2 by Phoenix in 1989. Phoenix used a second-round pick in 1988 to select Andrew Lang. And Charles Shackelford was taken in the second by New Jersey in 1988. Okay, and hey, we'd like to extend a hearty thank you to the people at Comcast Metrophone for sponsoring the Insider Quiz this season. And as we've said all year, Comcast Metrophone is the market leader in cellular technology. Well, already the 92-93 campaign is starting to seem like ancient history. This is going to be an interesting summer for the 76ers, and 93-94 will be here before you know it. Have a great summer, and we'll see you again in the fall. 76ers Insider is brought to you in part by Nordic Track, the great way to get in shape for men and women. Call for your brochure and video right now, 1-800-358-0406.